What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video with your boy Thic F30. Today we are talking about the full modification list on my BMW M2. If you are unfamiliar with this channel, the M2 that we are talking about today is a pre-LCI 2017 manual non-competition N55 version. Are you gonna be telling them about this video today, bud? So with that being said, you guys, I just wanna mention a couple of things that I think are kind of obvious, but I feel like I need to say them anyways. With YouTube being one of my professions, I am eternally grateful for the partnerships and sponsorships that I have with all of the companies that you saw listed in the beginning that helped make this build possible. At the end of this video, you guys will see a total cost for all of the parts that went into this build. That number is MSRP. With the content that I make and the partnerships that I do have, I am grateful enough to sometimes be gifted these parts to make the content. Sometimes they are heavily discounted, but sometimes I do pay for them. So is the price at the end what I paid? Absolutely not. But this will give you a general idea of what it took or what it would take someone who is just paying out of pocket MSRP to build the M2 at the level that I did. I also want to mention that the main purpose of this video is to bring you guys some value. This is not to boast or brag about how much money I put into my M2. You guys have seen me modify a 328, an E90 M3, and now an M2. If I wanted to modify the fastest cars, I'd obviously be going a different route. I feel like I need to mention that because a lot of times people look at YouTube like, well, you could have just bought a better car for all the money you put in it. That's not the point at all. I'm out here to make content and bring some people value, help them decide on parts and tunes, and also I am in no way, shape, or form an expert when it comes to this. I am still a student. I am learning. I've only been doing this for a couple of years. I am fallible, just like any other human being. But at the end of the day, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's hop into the price breakdown. We're gonna start this off with the performance parts first, and I will just read down the list. The first performance part would be the Dynon cold air intake. It is a carbon fiber intake. That is a $450 intake sold by Keys Motorsports. The second part is the CSF front mount intercooler. That is a $600 front mount intercooler from CSF, and I went with the silver version. You can go with black or silver. Next, we went with the Ftp Chargepipe and boost pipe kit from Keys Motorsports. That'll run $350. Next, we ended up going with the MST turbo inlet pipe. That is a $280 piece from Keys Motorsports. After that, we went with the turbo smart diverter valve. That is $210. I also wanted to try and include as many things as possible in this list, so I did put in the NGK one-step cold air spark plugs. Those are $126. I got those from ECS Tuning. The car was also tuned by Pro Tuning Freaks. I have multiple maps, 2 custom maps, and then one is a bundle by Boot Mode. This was sold by Keys Motorsports. The bundle was $650 for the N55. The Kerry Jordan map was $600 and the Paul Johnson was $600. That gave us a total of $1,850 in tuning. Next, we did the Thor Flasher. This was also sold to me by Keys Motorsports. This was for the differential and flashing in the heavier steering, and it also changes the way that the limited slip works in the car. That was $365. The downpipe in the car is a catless downpipe by Valvetronic. That is $700. The full exhaust system is a Valvetronic catback exhaust system for the M2. It is a valved rear section, completely open midsection, and that is $2690. Next up is the EBC ceramic brake pads that I put on the car. These were $150 sold by Keys Motorsports. After that, we did the Goodridge steel braided brake lines. Those are $165, also sold by Keys Motorsports. And lastly, in the performance parts, we put on the H&R 10mm spacers. Those are $120. Those aren't necessarily performance, but I didn't really know where else to put them, so I just threw them in the performance section. Moving on from performance, we're gonna talk a little bit about suspension. I didn't do a whole lot with suspension. I just did the KW height adjustable spring kit, which was $870 from Keys Motorsports. In my opinion, probably the best bang for the buck when it comes to suspension. And then after that, we went with the H&R front lower sway bar, which was $480, also from Keys Motorsports. It's pretty incredible with this car. You don't need to do a ton to make it handle good. It actually handles great from the factory. We just wanted to eliminate some of that wheel gap and remove some of the floatiness in the feeling of the car. It drives 10 times better with the height adjustable spring kit and the front lower sway bar. Moving on to the interior, the first thing I did was the M Performance shift knob with the Alcantara shift boot. That was $230 from ECS Tuning. After that, I did the M Performance digital display race wheel, which was $2,000 from Keys Motorsports. Then I actually found some M4 seats online. I believe it was Facebook Marketplace. I found them for $1,500. And then I upgraded those M4 seats with the M2 seat badge badges, those were $300 from Keys Motorsports. In addition to the badges, I added on the M4 carbon fiber seat backs. Those were $810 from Keys Motorsports. Adding a bit more spice to the interior, we installed the P3 vent gauge, which was $389 from Keys Motorsports. I have what I would consider probably the most functional little phone mount in my car, and I absolutely love it. It's the best one that I could find for the M2, and that was $21. Amazon, can't go wrong. Next up is the Uniden R3 radar detector. I got that on Amazon for $286. I've had that in every single car that I've owned, and it's amazing. After that, we have the Blackview dash cam, that is $500. And then lastly, we have the aluminum pedal covers that were $15. Amazon. I think it was Amazon. So here's the largest portion of this list, which is the exterior. We did a lot of different renditions on this car in the exterior. Like I said, I'm gonna keep it as simple as possible and not include the things that I put on and took off. I'm just gonna include the parts that made it to the final form of this car to keep things simple. First up, we have the Bay Optics custom headlights. I sent my stock headlights in. They customized my headlights to a very OEM plus kind of finish with a blacked out housing and the vision rings. It looks really, really good. These were $1,400. Next up, I have the GTS aluminum hood from Souvenir. This is $898. After that, we have the carbon R1V style lip. Basically looks like the Vorsteiner lip from Souvenir. This was $500. Next up, we have the carbon fiber side skirt extensions. Those were $550 from Souvenir. After that, we have the carbon high kick spoiler. This was $340 from ECS Tuning. Then we have the carbon GTS wing. This was $800 from Souvenir. I actually also bought a separate trunk, so I didn't have to drill into my stock trunk. I picked up that second trunk from a junkyard for $400. That way I could just swap trunks without having to put holes in my current trunk. Next up, we have the carbon fiber mirror caps from Keys Motorsports for $200. Then we have the IND painted reflectors, Alpine White, for $175. Then we have the stud conversion. It is Motorsports hardware from Keys Motorsports. That is $110. For the wheels, I went with the Apex FL5s in 18s in satin black. Those were $1,300. For the tires, I had Michelin 4S tires. Now, the front were Michelin Super Sports and the back were Michelin 4S. They couldn't get all of the 4Ss in the size I want. So just to keep this list simple, I'm just gonna price this out for the 4S tires, $1,300 for all of the tires. Next up is the carbon fiber diffuser. This diffuser was kind of controversial. I just grabbed it off of Alibaba for super cheap. It was $350. It wasn't the greatest diffuser. The quality was pretty bad. Fitment was pretty bad, but I made it work in the meantime. Next up is the carbon fiber shark fin for $60 from Keys Motorsports. I also upgraded the taillights to the LCI version taillights. I did that conversion myself. It was $500. All of the parts for that were purchased off of ECS Tuning. Next up are the custom black roundels that I had made by Impulse Designs. Those were $100. And then the custom black floating caps that I have on my wheels, those were also $100. Next up, we went with the smoked sequential mirror blinkers. Those are $85, I believe, off of Amazon. And I was lucky enough to have Sunsational Tint Wraps Detail on board of this build, and they helped me out with my tinting. We did a ceramic tint, 20% all the way around with 50% on the windshield. That is a $600 package. Then we covered the full front end of the car in Expel PPF, so it is protected. That is a $2,000 package. The windshield also has tear off on it. It's like a thick film that protects your windshield from small rocks and cracks. That is a $350 product and install. On top of the roof, we have black S-Tech PPF. That is $250. I have the blacked out kidney grills. Those are also $250 from ECS Tuning. The entire car is ceramic coated. That is a $1,500 package by Sunsational Tint Wraps Detail. I also have the black side grills from ECS Tuning. Those are $200. The black M2 badge on the back, which is $45. The Tommy L Garage splash guards, $75. And the custom white calipers, which were painted professionally and look really, really good with the actual M decal on them, for $300 from my local shop, Dynamic Auto Tune. Drum roll, please. The total cost and parts for this build at MSRP is $29,800. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to spend on a car. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, you guys, I personally did not pay that. I am fortunate enough to have partnerships with awesome sponsors that helped me out on this build. But $29,800 in car parts is quite a bit of money. In final form, I think the car looks really, really good. It's also at a level where we didn't dive too deep into the engine. It was running very reliably and strong on a stage 2 boot mode OTS map. And the car also has full bolt-ons as well as some really nice carbon fiber parts, and just in general looked really, really good, in my opinion. But hopefully this gives you guys an idea of what it would take to build the car just like I did to this level. And for some of you guys, this might even help you make your decision of whether buying the M2, the OG M2 is even worth it. With almost $30,000 in modifications and buying the car for nearly $40,000, you're looking at a $70,000 car. For me personally, no matter what car I buy, it never remains stock. So even if I bought a $70,000 car, I'd still probably end up spending 10 to 20 grand on that car. Because honestly, it's just what I love to do. I like working on cars and I like making the content and working with partners and bringing you guys value as much as possible in these videos. Anyway, speaking of value, I hope this video brought you some value. That is the only purpose of me creating content for you guys in YouTube. I just want to be able to bring you some kind of value. But just like that, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. Please do subscribe, comment down below, like this video, hit that bell notification just like that. This video's over and we're out.